welcome. This character profile video is for the class Sage. And what you'll see is all of his skills, the top 8 PVE and PVP skills I recommend, his skill combos, his enhancements, player card, and a gameplay video. So without further ado, let's go ahead and dive right in and show you the class Sage. Here we go. Okay, if this is your first time seeing my character profile videos, let me introduce the interface for the skills. On the far left is all of his skills. On the far right are the specials that go with those skills. The column next to skill is charges. That's how many times you can use that skill. Then there's the hits, how many times that skill will hit. And then the next column is damage-PVE, which is the highest percentage damage that skill will do against creatures in the world. And then the last column, damage-PVP, is the highest percentage damage that the skill will do against another player. And of course, at the very bottom is a passive skill that applies to everything. So we will get into what the different colors mean in the specials in the next slide, but take a moment to look at all of this, and when you're ready, let's move on to the top 8 PvE skills I recommend. Here we go. And welcome to the PvE skills slide. So what I've done is I've organized all of the skills according to the damage-PVE column. From the highest percentage damage all the way down, and what you can see is that Spatial Shatter is the highest damaging skill that you have. However, there's more to talk about. I'm going to do it on the PvE skills slide on what the colors mean. So first of all, when I say it's your highest damaging, I want to point out the skills that say max 4 attack or max 2 attack. For example, look at Void Beam. It says max 4 attacks. So what's happening here is I have under Void Beam that it hits once, but the game is telling you you can hit 4 times. But the thing is when you tap on the skill to attack your opponent just once, it's gonna hit once. For Void Beam, you have to tap it 4 times to get the maximum of 4 attacks. If you look up to Rift Surge, right above it where it says it hits 4 times, if you tap Rift Surge just once on that skill, it'll hit 4 times automatically. That's the difference between what you see in hits and what it's saying by max 4 attacks or 2 attacks. So in other words, for example, the phase shift in the middle where it says it hits once, but then you see max 2 attacks, you need to tap this skill twice to get in both attacks. So that's how that works. And the other one is the Purgatory. It hits once, but the max is 10 attacks. So I wanted to explain that one. The animation is 2 attacks. If you were to rapidly press the skill, you'll see that he has 2 animations, the right arm and the left arm. So if you figure, okay, if he has 2 attacks, then when he moves his right arm up, that's 5 attacks. And then the other arm, the left arm, that's the other 5 attacks, making it 10 attacks. But if you just tapped it just once, he's just going to lift one arm up and that's it. And you're not going to get 10 attacks out of that. Sorry. So this is to explain, this is new. I don't recall seeing PA do max attacks. I think it is there, but I'm trying to pay more attention for you guys on if you were to tap it, are you gonna get 10 attacks? No, you have to tap it twice, 5 and 5. Otherwise, I would have told you that for the say max 4 attacks for Void Beam, you actually have to tap it 4 times. So that's how that works, just so you're aware. Now, the other thing is, of course, all of the things and specials that are highlighted red, they do not apply in Arena. So just be aware of that. Let's see, the other one is, look at Wormhole at the very bottom. You see how the color is, what is that, like a purple or violet? It connects with Spatial Shatter and Spatial Collapse. So I wanted you to see the connection in color between that skill of Wormhole, how it increases the damage of Spatial Shatter and Spatial Collapse by 15% for 7 seconds. So obviously you would use Wormhole to get away or attack, and when you come out of it, you would want to use one of those skills that I just mentioned, either of those skills, to get the 15% increase in damage, along with the fact that they're your number 1 and 2 highest hitting damage PVE skills. The last thing to point out, aside from the obvious passive and what it does, you can read that, that's fine, is the second skill, Spatial Collapse. You see how I highlighted the thing in blue all the way over to the right? I wanted to point that out. So evasion or Wormhole can be used while charging. So if you are using Spatial Collapse and he's charging to do an attack, if you're in Arena or anywhere where you got your opponent on the ground, you're going to hit him with Spatial Collapse, you're charging, but for some reason they get up quicker than you anticipated and you got to get out of there real fast. And they're letting you know that, hey, if you see that it's just not going to happen, you can tap on Wormhole and get the heck out of there in the mid cast. So there's a lot of play here on what you want to do, but that's what the blue means, is that I want you to see that you can get out of there, and you're not bound to waiting for that animation where they're like, oh, the animation has to go, I could beat up on them anytime. I have an Archmage, and unfortunately you can beat up on me during that type of animation, but not for him. He can get out of there. Alright, so that's how the PvE skills works. What we're going to do is move on to the top 8 PvP skills that I recommend, and when you're ready, I'll see you there. Here we go. And welcome to the PvP skills slide. I apologize, I noticed that the PvE didn't have all the max attacks highlighted in blue, and you're like, hey, but the PvP skills slide does. So that's fine. For the PvP people, it'll visually just make it easier to see all the max attacks that they have. So it looks like your highest skill is going to be same one, Spatial Shatter and Spatial Collapse. So I think it's very obvious here. If you're new to PvP and you're just looking for advice, follow what everyone does, which is make sure that the skills that you use are rotating super armor. So you're in luck. Spatial Shatter is your highest hitting skill and gives you super armor even in Arena. So congrats, and it even knocks your opponent down on hit. You just couldn't ask for anything better than a hard-hitting skill that knocks your opponent down. However, be aware that your opponent is also going to be doing super armor too, and I'll explain in detail what super armor gives you on the player card. So if I was to do PvP with this character, I would definitely have all of the ones highlighted in green lined up to just get used to them. You already have Spatial Shatter giving you your super armor, so after that it's pretty much your style of play. What I've mentioned in the PvE skills side is the Wormhole it allows you to, you want to note the cooldown, which I'm not sure what it is, but it allows you to toy around with your opponent. But when you're not doing that, you also have, well, let's see. Yeah, I mean, you have a lot of skills to play around and see what you like best. And that's my recommendation, to try out the ones that are highlighted in green. Don't worry, just make sure that Spatial Shatter is the first thing that you do off the starting line to give you your super armor. I'd say the other one is Phase Shift. You can do Phase Shift because it will also give you super armor, and this is talking about when you're in arena. So you want to get the super armor off as soon as possible and keep refreshing it as much as you can so that you have the confidence in knowing that you have the effect with you. Other than that, it's really your choice, but you won't know which ones you like unless you just mess around with them. So take a moment to look at the PvP skills slide, and when you're ready, I'm going to show you the next slide, which is the combo slide, so that you can be introduced to what the game is suggesting you can do for combos. Here we go. And welcome to the skill combo slide. So when you're looking at your character, you've gone in and you're looking at the skills that you have, and you look over to the left and you'll see a little magnifying glass, and you tap on that, you will access the list of skill combos that the game recommends. What I've done is I've taken all of them and put them on one screen for you to visually see them all. Otherwise you'd be scrolling up and down to see all of them in the game. So how this works is, let's go at the very top. Void Beam. They're saying, okay, if you are going to use Void Beam, then consider using Spatial Shatter next to chain from Void Beam to Spatial Shatter, or you can do Void Beam to Pocket Distortion. So this is their way that they're recommending it, is when you use that skill, you have two other skills that would pair very well. So try it out, maybe on the enemies of the world, just so you can visually see what it's doing to them and get comfortable with that combo. And then when you're ready, you can fight a actual player and use those combos too and see how that does against actual people. So that's the way that the skill combo screen works. The next one down, Rift Chain, there's 3 things that you can link to it. So take time to try these all out, and that's the way that you'll get better at PvP or just overall with your character, is getting comfortable, trying it out, seeing what you like, and then moving forward with it. So take a moment to look at all this, and when you're ready, we're going to move on to the enhancements for the Sage. Here we go. And welcome to the enhancement slide. So the way that this works is, on the far left are all your skills, on the far right is all the branch damages that are connected to those skills, and then you have 4 columns in the center. So the first column, second, and fourth, I've tried real hard to design that those are the enhancements that help you, your character. The third column, I make it so it's things that happen to the creature or player you're fighting. So things happen to them. Because of the space, and because they sometimes give you 2 things that are going to affect the player or creature you're fighting, the format doesn't always stay just so like that. For example, I really have to point this out. The Spatial Shatter, the first column, yeah, that you're inflicting bleed on your creature or your opponent. The next one is what happens to excuse me, sorry. What happens to your opponent, not you, not your character. So their crit chance goes down by 5% for 5 seconds when you successfully hit them. And then the third column says you're also lowering their target DP minus 20 for 10 seconds as well. So those are two things that are happening against the creature or the player that you're attacking, while you get a bleed on, well, actually it's three. You're bleeding them, so it's three things that are happening to them. And then if you look at the next one, yeah, okay. The next one down, wormhole, all the way to the far right. When you unlock the enhancement, you can reduce the skill cooldown from its normal 10 seconds to become 8 seconds. So that skill becomes quicker because you unlocked it. And look at the enhancement for it to see what level you have to be to unlock it. Otherwise, you always want to put time and energy into unlocking everything. That's just the levels, you know, level 1 through 10, I believe it is. But I think it goes up to 9, and that's it. And then it goes to 10, but unlocking, I think, stops at 9. I'm not sure about that. So take a moment to look at the enhancement slide. And one more thing to point out is the third skill down, Rift Chain. You see where it shows heal 110 hit points per hit? The reason why the word heal is colored the way it is because that enhancement doesn't work in Path of Glory. So if you put your guy in Path of Glory expecting him to heal himself every time he hits a creature, no, that's the reason why it's colored differently. It just won't happen. But when you're out of Path of Glory and you're in the world fighting creatures or in arena or anywhere else, yes, it will work. So take a moment to look at this, and when you're ready, we will move on to the player card. Here we go. And welcome to the player card. So what you're looking at is the summation of all the previous slides, except for the player combos, and I wanted to have it all on one screen. Just like a baseball card, if you're very familiar with my character profile videos, then you know that when a new character comes out, if you're short on time, you can just load this up, go straight over to the player card, and check it out all on one screen. So allow me to introduce all of the features. At the very top is the top 8 PVE and PVP skills that I recommended, highlighted in green. And then to the right is something new. It's called Immobilization. So anything that knocks your opponent down, knocks them up, knocks them back, or freeze, stun, anything. If they have it to affect the person that you're fighting, then it counts, and I will tell you how many you have. So when you look at the Sage, he's got 5 skills where 2 things to immobilize your opponent occur. That's great. That is really good. And even your top skills of Spatial Shatter and Spatial Collapse, they have one. Just one, but hey, one's all you need, right? So looking at it overall, more than 75% of all of his skills have an immobilization to it. So this guy is very formidable, and he's able to immobilize anyone that you're attacking. Yeah, very impressed. So looking down the player card, we have all of the skills that you're familiar with right there, and then the enhancements, and at the very bottom, excuse me, what I've done is I put the legend for not applied in Path of Glory and not applied in Arena, and then below that is the definition for forward guard and super armor. If you're like, thank you, I have no idea what these two things mean, you keep talking about it, so please tell me what that is. Forward guard means incoming damage will either be 0 or heavily reduced. So when you have a skill that has forward guard, which you do, it is Rift Surge. It says forward guard while you're using it, and super armor on the last hit. if your opponent is in front of you and they try to do any damage to you, it's just not going to happen. They're not going to damage you at all. But if they get to your sides or behind you, then yes, they can do some damage to you. But as long as you're facing always towards them, that forward guard is going to really help you. Now, the super armor, that's what happens when I talk too much. The super armor means that incoming damage will be reduced, and the effects that immobilize you, like stun, knockdown, freeze, etc., will not happen for a duration of time. That's why people who are PvPers out there have super armor in their rotation. They're attacking, super armor, attacking, super armor. Always refreshing it. So take a moment to look at the player card, and when you're ready, music's going to change and we'll get into the gameplay video. Here we go. And welcome to the gameplay video. So before we get started, let us show you where we're at. We're over here in Balanos, and we are at Kron Castle entrance, and we're here because I like being here. Their CP is that much, and our CP is this much. So the way that this is going to work is we have a auto path that always goes to the same spot, and we'll have him show off his skills for about 2 or 3 minutes, at which time we'll go ahead and head back to town. I can give my outro and say thank you. So without further ado, as he gets on over there, I present to you the class Sage. Here we go. Just about ready to head back to town, so let's give him a few minutes here. There we go, and we'll click on that. So while the loading screen is coming up and we get back to our town and present him, let me say thank you. Thank you very much for watching this video. I'm always making more videos. If you like the videos that I do, please subscribe, like, let people know. I'm always making more, and I enjoy doing them for you. So I will just swing this camera around so we can get him presented. There we go. Nice little trick. And once again, thank you. Thank you guys very much. You have yourself a wonderful day. Take care. Bye now.